Gru needs a quiet place to work, but his loyal minions are making it impossible. They're trying to help, but they just suck at it. He tries putting up a do not disturb sign on his door, but they immediately take it down so they can pester him even more. So he locks himself in his bedroom and starts working from there. But they barge in and start organizing his clothes in the most chaotic way possible. They put his underwear in his top drawer and stick all of his shirts in his sock drawer. Then they start dancing in his closet, which is full of sharp objects. And when they start hanging from the curtains, he tells them to stop, but instead of doing that, they hang from the curtain rod and start poking him with those little pointy bits on their heads. So he throws them out of the window and gets back to work. But then they come in through the chimney and start tickling him with the soot they brought with them. And when he finally manages to get away from them, he finds that they've glued the drawers together, so he can't get any of his stuff. So he uses his shrink ray to shrink them down and get some peace and quiet, but then he gets an idea. He takes the remote control for the shrink ray and puts it in a drawer, then puts the drawer in front of his face and shrinks himself. He looks around to make sure no one's looking, then grabs the remote and heads out the front door. Meanwhile, the minions are having a great time playing with the now giant screwdriver until it runs out of juice and they cut and open the back of the TV to put the new batteries in. Just then, Gru comes in and hands Kevin the remote control. She looks at it for a moment before she realizes what it does. She tries to shrink Dave and Phil, but it doesn't work because they're too big. But she manages to shrink Stuart down to her size. And when she asks him to get the batteries out of the TV, he happily obliges. As soon as he does, though, she puts the remote in her pocket and starts running away from him. He chases after her as the two of them head out the front door and into the city. The next day, Gru wakes up on the couch and finds that someone has been using his bed as a scratching post. But when he goes to the kitchen, he sees that they've made him breakfast and spelled out sorry on the counter with cereal. He feels bad for getting mad at them, so he gets a piece of toast, only to find that they've glued the pieces of bread together. He shrugs and pulls out a knife to cut it, but they've glued the knife to the counter. He looks over and sees the remote control for the shrink ray, and he smiles. Maybe this will be the day he finally gets some peace and quiet.